Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
They got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughing him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the Recovery Addict live stream in their courtroom.
The fireworks are not done.
We're getting commentary on the case. Dati mihi Anglican po, he's very fluffy.
That's literally not true.
Is that correct?
I didn't ask you to interrupt me.
Oh, for Trump's sake.
Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict. Just trying to find out where I am. Hang on 1 second. Oh, it's a Monday for sure. It's definitely a Monday. Let's turn the music down.
You look good.
Thank you, thank you. Alrighty. Let's see. Welcome, one and all. It's good to have you here. We'll let the music finish. This is sort of like the calling bell. Get everyone here at the music. So let's give it a minute here.
Shame on you, sir.
All right. Whew. Wow. Good morning. A couple things. I noticed my shirt is a little transparent today, so you can sort of see through me a little bit. I'm sort of a ghost. My face is not, but the rest of me is. Why, we should do that for sure. Anyway, welcome. Yes, you can see through me. Yes. We'll see. I think we might try to start the Jose de Soto-Escalera trial, which is already underway. So we do some catch up, but I think we might go in there. It's not my favorite trial. It's a pregnant mistress murder trial. She's 8.5 months pregnant when she's killed. It's going to be a hard one, but our selection is slim right now, very slim. So just know we're going to do a little catch up there and see if we can get it.
I was told counsel wanted to see me inside back.
Get it working that way. But it's death penalty. Yep. See, it's got some interesting things that we might try to follow, but. Lena H., I'm so sorry. Sorry you're sick. I was not feeling well over the weekend, but Mrs. R.A. Was feeling bad before me, and she got better quickly, and now I'm feeling better today. So it's all good. Schmoopy, first in chat today. Congratulations. Everything I related worldwide is your responsibility, Schmoopy. That's it. We're punishing you for your promptness. You are, in fact, the internet owner for the day, at least the half day, until we go live after lunch. But we're getting there. I want to I want to play a video from a YouTube channel that Judge Middleton shouted out on his morning soliloquy this morning, because she just nailed it. She pegged it, but I can't. I'll have to reach out to her, see if I can get permission to share it. But she just. It was good. I'll wait. It was not someone I agree with fully, but some things she says is really good. Her channel is out. I think she's out of Toronto. It's called According to Nicole, and I've only watched one of her videos after Judge Middleton shouted her out. I was watching something about throwaway culture, and I'm like, huh. There's part of it that she hit the nail on the head. Pretty good. All right, we'll see if we can get to that at some other point. But in the meantime, good morning. How are you doing? Happy Monday to you. Hope you had an absolutely great weekend, and you're just up and rearing to go for today. Let's see. Over here. Nope, not that one. Not that one either. I'll get it figured out in just a second. All right. We've got to sing happy birthday to some great people, and Josh just came in with a birthday message. So let's do that first, and we can get started on some trial watching and see how we do here. Let's see. Happy birthday to Corey H, Jules04, Paisley, Priceless, Lori, and Sissy. Are Lori and Sissy twins? Do we need like an Oxford comma? No, just kidding. I'm just giving you a hard time, Josh. We're going to sing to all these wonderful people. Once we get the birthday song ready. Okay, it's ready. It's in the right place. Sorry, it's Monday here. I feel like I'm just waking up. I got loads of sleep over the weekend, probably too much. And I think I took a 5-hour nap on Sunday afternoon. And then I slept a full night as well. So it's my head's like confused. It's like, no, we're hibernating now. I'm like, no, it's up time. All right, so we're here. No football. I have not watched football yet. I should. I know my local ECU Pirates are playing a big game this week, and I should probably watch football. But all right, I did need rest. It was good. It was pleasant. All right, everyone stand up. Rest time's over. That's not a nap. That's sleep. It's practically hibernation. Everyone stand up, take a deep breath, shoulders back, project your voice to the back of the room, blend your voice with your neighbor, warm up with me if you will. La 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 la. All right, we're ready. We're ready. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Corey H. Jules04, Paisley, Priceless, Lori, and Sissy. Happy birthday to you. Corey H. Jules04, Paisley, Priceless, Lori, and Sissy. Happy birthday. There are many wonderful days, but today is your special day. I realize there are a million people you could have been with, and a million people you could have celebrated with, a million places you could have been. Sorry. But you chose to be here with us. The privilege, the pleasure, the honor is ours. Hopefully we can return some of the joy we feel back to you, make your day a little more specialer. Begin by helping yourself to free pancakes at Denny's, IHOP Village Inn, Waffle House, McDonald's, Tammy Dunlap's House, Andy's Grill, Bob Evans, and Cracker Barrel. Ooh. Wow, that's a lot. Laura Jean, happy birthday. Kitty, we're going to be going over there in just a little bit. Thank you for that. Appreciate the support of the channel. Lindsay Bay, thank you for showing us just how you should eat pancakes. Stack tie, butter and syrup. There's no better way. I know some people are like, oh, cherries, cream, whipped toppings, sprinkled. No, this is it right here. Just right like that. Just take that, set it on your plate, plop like that, and you're good to go. All right. The dancers are doing their thing with the high kicks. Looking good. Bree, happy birthday to all the birthdays. Thank you very much. Alexis, I'm here. I see you, Alexis. Thank you. Welcome. Breezy Bree, member for 29 months. OG, and I love it. Bree, since you've been here long enough, help me with the drum solo. Ready? I'm going to make drummers out of all y'all. We're going to be like a drum corps. All right. Thank you very much, Breezy Bree. 29 months. It wouldn't be the same without you here. That's awesome. Winnaboo, member for 19 months. Wow, haven't been here for a while. Been busy. Finally can catch a live RA. Those glasses on you is fire. Looks nice. These are just blue blockers. They do nothing to help my terrible vision. I probably should combine the two and get something to help my vision. That way I wouldn't be like, is that right? Looking across the room trying to read text on a tiny screen. Well, it's a big screen, but it's far away and the text is tiny there. Yeah. One day I'll go to the eye doctor, see how bad it is. EJ, yes, we have a trial we're going to go to this morning. Brand new trial today. It's awesome. Kim R, guess who came back and didn't take us in her suitcase either way. Kim R, back from Aruba. was awesome. I missed you. We missed you as well, but you sent pictures, which made us miss you more. Selena K, member for 29 months, and attorney-level support on the channel. Selena, just love it here. I have 997 days sober. Selena, that makes this week, 4 digits. 1,000. 1,000. That is awesome. That deserves a loud party horn for sure. Hot dang, Elena's crafting. I edited that one. Hello, friends. Welcome. 2 months. Good to have you here. Thank you. Thank you very much. My hair looks like that this morning, but it's shorter, so it's not quite as big, but it's doing all those movements. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Now I have to do the part where we get court ready, so we have something to watch. Wait for it. Somebody's revving their engine on our street. They must be really cool. That's how you can tell. Okay. Trying to get it lined up. Turn that one off. This one here. Okay. Now we're ready-ish. We're ready-ish, sort of. Nope, that's not it. Hold, please. Man, it's definitely a Monday. Do all y'all having a Monday today? Just raise your hand if it's a Monday for you as well. I did spend a significant amount of time over the weekend looking for equipment, some fun equipment to enhance the live stream to 4K. Of course, court feed would not be enhanced unless our cameras provided in the courtroom were 4K as well. But let's see. Why is that not coming here? Okay, sorry. Let's see. Kelly H says, looking for tech stuff? Yeah, shocking. Yep. Here's the problem. When you try to stream in 4K, you've heard of like a weakest link theory. Every link in the chain has to be 4K or else it doesn't go. Right now, YouTube allows 4K, and my camera, say like this camera, shoots 4K. My computers can output 4K, but it's these parts that I'm looking at. And I'm looking at a different encoder specifically that would be able to output 4K. So anyway, it's fun because now is the time. They've got like a big conference. I think it's in like Netherlands or something, where a lot of the companies that I love and support financially, probably too much, release new products. So I've been watching those. Big Sky DMC, 30 months. Wowzers. Seems like it was just yesterday I signed up. Then I look back at all the crazy trials we've covered. Best YouTube channel right here. That's awesome. That's awesome. Let me see if we can take a peek at what's going on here. Just one second. There's my super source. Guys, I feel like I'm like a day behind in my head. Just my thought processes. I don't know. I guess this is me in recovery mode, trying to get over whatever bug I had over the weekend. But let's do this one right here. Box source 3 is, nope. 3 is 2. 1 is 4. 2 is 3. And 4 is MP1. Bingo. Okay. Whew. All right. Just built my little view thing. Sorry, I'm singing the happy birthday song in my head still. And we'll turn off 2. Not sure what we're going to count on this trial, so we'll see. While this is going on, that's not the reason I posted this, but Debbie, the Creative Bee, says, please send prayers to a young man, 15-year-old, whose mom, very good friend, passed away this weekend, and whose dad passed away 2 years ago. Oh my goodness, Debbie, 15 years old is too young to lose your parents. That's heartbreaking. Thank you for sharing. We'll definitely do that, Debbie. Happy Bath Bar member for 24 months. Oh, gee, you just got a pink courthouse. Congratulations. Finally pink 2 years in, and still the best decision I've made online. I would say becoming a member on this channel is a much better decision than almost anything you can buy on Temu. And beyond that, I make no guarantees. But Kelly H says, upgrade funds, best tech on YouTube. Kelly, thank you. That wasn't why I was saying that, but I save up for my upgrades now, so it's all good. That's what we're doing. I have a gig this week. Well, not this week, this month. It's actually the end of the month, almost the very end, on a weekend. Doesn't interrupt what we're doing. My cat's name is Timu. Brie, that's awesome. We're trying to get everything set up here. It's just going to be a second, and we'll have maybe some court to watch. If I can get it figured out. Let's see if I can bring in 2. Let's try that. Try that again. All right, here we are. Here we be. It just might work this time. Dad was joking around yesterday. That's so him. It was a fun-filled Sunday afternoon. That's awesome, Britta. Glad he's feeling good enough to be joking, having fun, making memories.
And are you all ready for me to bring in the jurors so we can start with the opening statements?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's bring in the jury. I'll give them some instructions, and we'll start with the opening statements.
This is a murder trial. The defendant is accused of murdering his mistress, who was 8.5 months pregnant, and I believe death penalty's on the table. That's all we have right now, as far as just starting. Judge Lawrence Meerman presiding. Red pen, thank you for that. This case is the Florida versus Jose Soto-Escalera. And it's just starting. It's a sad one. Death penalty case. Obviously, the victim was 8.5 months pregnant. I believe in Florida, we'll hear the charges, but I believe you're going to hear charges related to that. This is a jury trial, A-Fish. The jury is being brought in as we speak, ready for opening statements. A lot of us are coming in just green like this, not knowing much from the headlines from before. But we're going to hear this opening statement that will really put it all into perspective here, I think, for everybody. I don't think they're coming in yet. I think we're waiting for the door to open. We should count face touches this trial for everybody. Like me, because I'm constantly grabbing my glasses. Does that count? Can a death penalty case be a bench trial? In Florida, I think death penalty is automatically a jury trial, but it's possible that a defendant might waive that. I don't know. I don't know if a judge, if you can get death penalty from a single person, like a judge like that on the bench. I'll have to look. Okay, here we go. Now we stand up. You can do anything in Florida. Good morning, Edith. Welcome. We're in Florida here for this one. Florida versus Jose Soto-Escalera. Day one opening statement's about to begin as the jury's coming in. This is the very beginning.
All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. I hope you had a wonderful extended weekend. Before we begin with the opening statements, I want to remind you of some of the instructions I gave you Thursday afternoon, the high points. Something first, most importantly, that I've repeated multiple times, the most important element of a fair trial is that the jury base its decision only on the evidence presented officially in the trial. Therefore, as you know, don't talk to anyone about the case, including your fellow jurors. Don't do any research about the case by any form whatsoever, electronic or otherwise, and avoid all media coverage of the case. Remember also a rule that I told you about, which is as the trial progresses, don't form any definite or fixed opinion about the merits of the case until you've heard all of the evidence, the arguments by the lawyers, and the instructions on the law from me. With regard to note-taking, you've been provided with a pen and pad to take notes should you wish. You're not required to take notes. Please remember, during the breaks, when I send you back into the jury room, leave your notepad on your chair and it will be there for you when you come back into the room, into the courtroom, and that also follows for the every day of court session. Of course, during deliberations, you'll be entitled to take your notes back with you to assist you during deliberations. We're about to begin with the opening statement. If you recall, on Thursday, I advised you of the importance of the opening statement. If you recall what I told you, what the lawyers say to you at this time is not evidence. This is not part of the evidentiary portion of the trial, but it's very important. The way I like to explain it to you is, if you could imagine, if we didn't do opening statements, we would just start with the state calling witnesses and you would have no idea what this case is about. We have an adversarial system. Each side opposes the other, and there are things on both sides that they think are important. So it gives them an opportunity to prepare you for the evidentiary portion of the trial. It gives them an opportunity to tell you what evidence they think will be presented once we start hearing the evidence. And that's a huge advantage. Rather than you going into the trial cold with no idea what the case is about, now you will be able to have advance notice of what they believe you should be paying close attention to, and that will give you a tremendous advantage in all regards, but in particular at the end of the case when you hear their arguments reflecting on what the evidence was. With that, though, remember what they say is not evidence in that regard. And we start off with the state has the burden of proof, and they may begin with their opening statement. Mr. Cormier.
I have to do it, Eric. I have no other choice. I'm going to lose everything. If my wife finds out something like that, oh my God, bro, I'm going to lose everything. Bro, I have a spot. I have a spot. I have to find a spot where I'm going to dump her. I'll throw away all the clothes, or I'll burn them, or I'll wash them with Clorox. Those are the words from the defendant in this case on August 21st, 2018. The evidence will show you that Jose Soto-Escalera, the defendant in this case, he had a problem. He had a big problem, and he needed to find a way to get rid of it. He had no other choice in his eyes. And that problem that he had was the victim in this case, Tanya Wise. On August 21st, Tanya Wise was a mom. She was 38 weeks pregnant, and she had no idea that this defendant was carefully planning out her murder. You're gonna learn that the defendant in this case, he worked for Waste Pro. He was a garbage truck driver, and he worked with his nephew on the garbage truck. And the reason we're gonna know and hear how he planned out this murder is because he did it on the garbage truck while they're driving around, picking up trash, doing his route. But what the defendant didn't plan on is that it's all recorded. There's video, there's audio, and even though they talked in Spanish, everything is gonna be translated in this case, and you're gonna hear the defendant as he drives around on his trash route, trying to figure out where he's gonna get rid of her body, where he's gonna leave 38-week pregnant Tanya Wise for dead.
Wow.
How he's gonna kill her. Let's go 2 days later. That was August 21st, 2018.
The garbage truck
August
recorded
23rd.
it.
That's the date of the murder in this case. And it's a normal day for Jose. He's driving in his garbage truck and he's planning out a murder. He cannot let his wife know that he got another woman pregnant who's now 38 weeks. He's running out of time. She's getting ready to schedule a C-section. She's going to have this baby, and he cannot let that find out because he's gonna lose everything. That's all he cares about. What's gonna happen to him? Not that he's gonna kill a 38-week-year-old pregnant mother.
38.
That doesn't concern him at all. And he's talking casually in this car to his nephew. You think I should choke her? Or would it be better if I just do a big blow and it's all over with really quick? And then he tells him, you know what? She's not the type of person that anyone's even gonna look for. They're not even gonna look for her. They're not gonna worry about her. And you know what? If they don't find anything within the first 48 hours, they're never gonna find anything. Well, despite the defendant's planning and discussion over and over again of where he's going to do it, which way he should do it, how he's going to commit this murder, he made some mistakes. And on August 23rd, you're gonna hear from the victim in this case, Tanya Wise, you're gonna hear from her mother, Elizabeth Bedola. She is helping Tanya put her son to bed that night, and then Tanya leaves the house. The last time she sees her daughter alive is sometime after 8 o'clock on August 23rd, 2018. She doesn't know exactly where her daughter's going. She thinks she's just going out for a little bit. Tanya didn't have a car. She didn't have a way to go anywhere, and you'll learn through the recordings that the defendant, part of his plan was to lure her out, to get her out of the house, and then to take her somewhere to murder her. So that's August 23rd, that's the night of the murder. And you're gonna learn the defendant, he goes, he picks her up, and then he takes her out to complete his plan. So fast forward to the next morning. It's August 24th, 2018, Tanya Wise has been murdered. Christine Gavin is driving in St. Lucie County. The site of this murder is it's on a road called Russo Road. It's just north of Indrio. It's a little bit west of town. There's an intersection between Russo Road and Johnston Road. And it just so happens that this route is along the defendant's trash route. It's a spot that he passes, that he drives on his garbage truck route. But Christine Gavin, she's driving down that road that day, and on the side of Russo Road, she sees what she thinks is trash in a ditch, in the swale, on the side of the road. But when she looks closer, she realizes it's not trash. It's Tanya Wise. So immediately she sees a body on the side of the road and she calls 911. St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office is going to respond out to the scene. One of the first officers, Deputy Gilkey, he gets there and he takes some photos of Tanya as she is found the way that she is initially. You're going to hear that crime scene investigators, there's 3 different crime scene investigators that worked on this case: Donna Carmichael, Kayla Lim, and Janine Vasquez at the time, now Janine Hiller. They go out to the scene because now there's a dead body and they need to figure out what happened. So they go and they look at the body. Tanya Wise is face down in the swale on the side of the road. There's still some water. She's wet, she's damp. They see some hair, loose hair around the area where her body's found, and she is completely face down. They turn her over. They can see that she has some injuries to both her head and to her neck, and that there is what appears to be vomit within the swale of where her face was laying down. They collect all the evidence at the scene. They document all the evidence at the scene. They take photographs, and Tanya Wise is brought to the medical examiner's office to have an autopsy performed. So now we're on August 24th. She's been found. She's brought to the medical examiner's office, and the defendant is there, riding in his garbage truck again, as if nothing happened. And he's talking to his nephew again about what happened. And he's telling him, he says, yeah, I washed even though I had gloves on, I washed my hands with that brake cleaner. His nephew asked him, did you see, was there any blood? And he said, yeah, there's blood. It was all over the clothes, but I got rid of it. They're not gonna find any evidence. And once again, he's talking in this truck. He doesn't know that she's been found at this point yet, but he's saying, no one's even gonna look for her. She's the kind of person that runs away for a few days. I'm fine. He thinks he's in the clear. No one's gonna find her. So that's August 24th. And what's gonna happen is now law enforcement's going to start to work the case. They are going to figure out who knew her, how did they know her, when's the last time people saw Tanya Wise, because they need to start gathering evidence. They need to figure out who she was with, who she saw, what could have happened to her. And they start to bring in people for interviews the next day on the 25th. And what also happens the next day on the 25th is her autopsy. And what you're gonna learn what happened to Tanya Wise is that she suffered 2 major injuries that could have caused her death. She was struck, and you're gonna hear from Linda O'Neill, the medical examiner at the time, she was struck on the top of her head. And she suffered skull fractures, she suffered hematoma, edema, and that the cracks in her skull came all the way up to her orbital bones. Linda O'Neill will tell you that that was a significant blow that she took and that it couldn't have been done with a fist. That it had to be done with some type of extremely hard object. The other injury that you're gonna hear that Tanya Wise sustained was a 19-centimeter cut across her neck. It comes from the front to the back, consistent with someone possibly standing behind her, and there's multiple cuts. There's 2 separate cuts. And the cuts were so deep, it went through her jugular vein and almost to her spinal cord. And you're gonna see photographs of that. And the reason those cuts are so deep and she's hitting the head so hard is because this defendant had to make sure she was gone. He planned it out, and he was worried that he was gonna get found out. He thought he was gonna lose everything. And his solution was to kill Tanya Wise and Josiah Wise, which was going to be the 38-week-old baby that she had that was getting ready to be born within the next couple of weeks. You're going to hear that the sheriff's office continued to work on this case. They gathered evidence, and they eventually talked to the defendant in this case. He goes into the sheriff's office on August 25th, 2018 for an interview. And when he comes in, he drives in a silverish gray Dodge truck. Now what you're gonna learn about this truck is that same day of the finding of the body or the same day of the murder on August 23rd, there's another individual by the name of William Mullen. William Mullen owned a pizza shop at the time, and he was driving on Russo Road in that area at about 11:30 at night. And he sees something that's odd to him. As he's driving down the road, he sees a silverish truck, meets the description of the defendant's truck. It has some fog lights on, and it's just sitting on the side of the road. He says he sees the truck, he pulls up, it turns its lights off, it turns its lights on, and then it drives off. And he thought that was kind of weird. So the next day, when he sees law enforcement there, he goes and calls 911 and says, hey, I saw this truck out right there where that body was found last night. And just so happens that the day that this defendant comes in to give an interview, he's driving a truck that matches that description, consistent with the truck that's seen right at the murder scene. Another piece of evidence that the sheriff's office says, you know what? It's starting to look like it's Jose Soto-Escalera. So he gives consent to search his car. Law enforcement, they swab his car that particular day, and then they talk to him. And when they talk to the defendant, you're gonna hear his interview, you're gonna listen to his words, and you can watch him. He comes in as if, despite what he just did, despite after cutting her throat twice and bashing in her head, he's surprised. He's sad, I can't believe this happened. I feel bad for her family. I hope you find who did this. I don't know anything about it. He minimizes his relationship with Tanya Wise. He's like, yeah, I know her, we're not friends. She comes over, her son plays with my son. They start to ask more questions. She was pregnant. Is there any reason that we're gonna find out this is your child? Are we gonna learn that this baby is yours? Nope. Not my child. That's not possible. I've never had sex with Tanya Wise. That's not me. So obviously, law enforcement, there's a medical examiner, they're gonna do a paternity test of this baby that Tanya had. And they're gonna look into that. But what they're also gonna look at is they're gonna start to look at phone records. They're gonna look at calls. They're going to do search warrants, and that's exactly what is done in this case. After the 25th, they do a search warrant subsequent on the defendant's vehicle again on September 24th of 2018. And at that time, they use something, and it's called Blue Star, and it's a chemical that they spray inside of his truck. And if there's blood inside, it lights up blue in the dark. So they spray that, and sure enough, they look inside of his truck, and there's parts that are glowing. Evidence that there was blood in his truck.
Probably on his side.
So what do? They cut out the carpet where they see some of that blood. They swab that, and they send that off also for DNA testing. So what you're gonna hear about the DNA evidence in this case is that they took a lot of swabs and they tested a lot of stuff. But there's a couple things that are extremely important. And one of those is that they checked multiple people to see who could be the father of that child, and 99.99%, it's the defendant. So not only did he kill Tanya Wise, he killed his own son that she was 38 weeks pregnant with, because he didn't want his wife to find out that he had been with someone else. He cut her throat and bashed her head in, knowing that possibly it was his child, but he did it anyways. Because he had planned it out, and he said, I have to do it, Eric. I have no other choice. You're gonna hear some additional evidence that even though that evening, he's gonna tell law enforcement what he did and where he went, and the cell phone evidence that's gonna introduce in this case, the cell phone tower evidence, it's gonna show that's not correct. That's not where he was. The evidence is gonna put him out at the scene of the crime. It's gonna put him near that area where this crime occurred out on Russo Road.
Provably lying to cops. That's suspicious.
Throughout the trial, listen to the evidence, use your common sense. But when you go back and you listen and you watch and you hear what is said on these recordings, and you consider what the facts are, that the fact that this was his child, and that he lied about it, and that he hid it, and that he then planned this murder for multiple days, and then he carried it out, at the end of this trial, you're gonna find the defendant guilty of both first-degree murder of Tanya Wise and first-degree murder of an unborn child, because that's what the evidence is going to show. Thank you.
So he has been charged with the murder of the unborn child as well.
Mr. Cormier, does the defense wish to make an opening statement at this time? Ms.
Yes,
Smith?
sir.
Please do. Thank you.
Unfortunately, the profession that Miss Wise was in, a dancer and an escort, brought her into contact with many unsavory characters. And what you will learn in the days following the discovery of her body. Law enforcement got DNA samples from many men, not just my client. They got a DNA sample from a gentleman by the name of Mark Burke, who she was involved with and was her longtime paramour and pimp. They got DNA from a person named Bradley Rodriguez Jr., who was also her longtime boyfriend, who had been kicked out of her mom's house because he was violent with Tanya in front of her mother. They got DNA from a gentleman named Eric Alvarado, who is my client's nephew. And they got DNA from a person by the name of Giovanni Alvarado.
Nurse for God, thank you very
Who
much.
dropped Tanya off on the night that she was murdered. You will also learn that Miss Wise had told Bradley Rodriguez Jr. that he was the father of her son. And you will learn that she also told Mark Burke that he was the father of her son. It was in this fraught situation that her untimely demise occurred. And the judge is going to tell you, when we talked about it during jury selection, that reasonable doubt can come from the evidence, lack of evidence, and conflicts in the evidence. I'd ask that you use a discerning ear and eye during the course of this trial and listen to not only the evidence that you see and hear, but the evidence that you won't see and that you won't hear. And I have no doubt that at the close of the evidence, you'll have no other alternative but to find my client not guilty of both charges. Thank you.
Thank you, attorneys. We now begin with the evidentiary portion of the trial, and the state may call its first witness.
Yes, sir. People say Florida called Christine Gavin.
It's a bold assertion there. And with recorded audio like that. And dumping her body right next to where he drives every week, I assume, probably on a weekly garbage route. Whoa. Usually most killers even try to take the body and the remains and put it somewhere where it won't be found. Not a place they frequent on a weekly basis. Let's see if we get a witness in here. Are we missing a witness? These were very short openings. It might be a quick trial, especially with all this evidence. Anyone know how long this one is scheduled for? Here we go. Here she is.
Do you swear or affirm that evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you.
Get that over this way for the witness.
That bailiff has a deep voice. He's a big guy, too.
And you may inquire of the witness.
Yes, sir. Morning.
Morning.
Can you state your name for the record and spell your last name, please?
Christine Gavin, Gavan.
Okay, Ms. Gavin, have you lived here in Fort Pierce all your life?
Since I was 7 years old.
Okay, and let me take you back to August 24th of 2018. Do you remember what you were doing that day?
I left my house and in Spanish Lakes Fairways, went to Johnston Road and was going to take a shortcut to my granddaughters and went down Russo Road.
Okay.
She's the one that found the body.
And you go down, and where did your granddaughter live?
She lives over all the other side of Emil Avenue.
Okay. And you left your home and you were going to your granddaughter's house?
Yes.
Okay. And you said you took a shortcut and you got on Russo's Road?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And describe in as much detail as possible what happened and what you saw on August 24th of 2018.
Started down Russo and I was looking out my windows and there was like somebody had thrown bags of trash out the window, and so I got to the end of the road where Rusacas crosses, And I stopped and I thought, oh, wait a minute, that's not what I saw. And I stopped and got my bearings again, and I thought, I think that was something more than just a bag laying there. So I turned around and I went back and saw that it was a body laying there. So I stopped and called 911.
Okay. And do you remember what time you called 911?
About 10:50.
Okay. And how do you remember that time?
I was very shocked, very upset, so I just sat there and waited for him to arrive.
Okay. And when you called 911, did you take a look at the timestamp on your phone?
Yes, I think it was like 10:54, something like that.
Okay. And the police officers arrived?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Without telling us what you said, because that would be inadmissible hearsay, but did you tell the police officer what you saw?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Gavin, thank you very much. I have no further questions.
That was quick.
No cross, Judge, thank you.
No cross. Regina, have fun in Tennessee.
Thank you, Ms. Gavin. You're released from your subpoena. That means you're free to stay or leave as you wish. You may step down from the witness stand.
So it looks like the camera position for the witness is going to be right in front of, or right in line with where the questioner stands.
Yes, sir. The people of the state of Florida called Deputy Josh Gilkey.
Do a little tweaking here, hang on.
Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Morning, sir.
Can you state your name for the record and spell your last name, please?
Deputy Joshua Gilkey, Gilkey.
Okay. And it's obvious based on your dress, but what do you do for a living?
Road Patrol Deputy in St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office.
Okay. Go ahead and give the jury a thumbnail sketch of your education, your training, and your experience, please.
I have an associate's degree in criminal justice. I've attended the Basic Academy for law enforcement. I'm a traffic homicide investigator, and I've worked for St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office for about 8 years now.
Okay. And were you working back on August 24th of 2018?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In what capacity were you working? What was your assignment?
Road Patrol Deputy.
Okay. And go ahead and just give the jury a brief summary of what a Road Patrol Deputy does on a day-to-day basis.
Road Patrol Deputy typically responds to calls for service. So you call 911, and if it's within that area that I'm working, I will respond to that call. I also do routine traffic stops as well.
Okay. And on August 24th of 2018, were you on duty?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And describe for the jury how you were dressed.
We had a different uniform back then. It was like the other deputies in this room, polyester uniform. So I was dressed in that uniform.
Okay. And were you in a marked unit?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you receive a call or to respond to the area of Russo's Road and Johnston Road in St. Lucie County?
I heard my zone partner. He got dispatched to the call. I just happened to be a little bit closer, so I arrived on scene first.
Okay. About how far, just give the jury an idea, about how far away is that area from Indiana Road?
So it's approximately about a mile and a half.
Okay. And so you get dispatched and walk the jury in as much detail as possible what you see. You are the eyes to this jury.
He's asking for a narrative.
What you see.
So whenever I first arrived on scene, I saw the caller in a black car, made contact with her. I believe her name was Christine Gavin. Mm-hmm. And she informed me that she had saw what could possibly be a deceased body down the road approximately 50 feet away from us. to the east on the south side of the roadway.
Okay. And did you approach that body?
Yes.
Okay. Tell the jury what you saw.
I saw what appeared to be a female body, and she appeared to be deceased at that time.
Okay. And what did you do in response?
I immediately determined that this was going to be an active crime scene due to there being a deceased female on the side of the roadway. Rescue was there with me as well. Nobody went up and touched the body or anything like that.
Did you touch the body?
No, sir.
Okay. I'm going to show you what has been marked as
nobody
exhibits 116
Did you?
and 117 for identification purposes. Take a look at those and tell me if you recognize those.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What are those photos? What do they depict?
Those are photos of the deceased female laying face down.
Okay. And are those photos of the deceased female as they appear on August 24th of 2018?
Yes.
Okay. And what time did you arrive on scene?
I believe it was approximately 11 a.m.
11 a.m. Okay. And are these photos fair and accurate representations of how the deceased female looked on August 24th of 2018?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Your Honor, the state moves into evidence exhibits 116 and 117.
Any objection?
No objection.
These two items will come into evidence without objection at this time. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, let me remind you of something I told you on Thursday.
Gotta fix the audio a bit.
It's been 3 days evidence. By my pronouncement take on a different significance of the actual evidence in the case. They will go back with you into the jury room during deliberations.
Is that better?
There may be other items that are used during the trial that do not officially come into evidence, such as items used to refresh a witness's memory or a demonstrative aid here in court. That's not the actual evidence, will not go back with you into the jury room. Also, now that an item is officially in evidence, it may be shown to you or published to you by either of the attorneys. And you may proceed, Mr. Richardson.
And permission to publish, sir.
You may do so.
Donna Littlefield, congratulations on that new color of courthouse.
Okay. So as we're looking here at exhibit 116, go ahead and describe for the jury and also for the record what we're looking at.
That is what I saw whenever I first arrived on scene and made contact with the body.
Okay. And exhibit 117?
It's another angle.
Same body?
Yes, sir.
And both of these depict the victim on August 24th of 2018?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And from that point forward, you're a road deputy, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so then did you then notify detectives within the homicide division of the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office?
I notified my supervisor, and supervisor makes the notifications from there.
Okay, so from that point forward, this was not your case. More homicide detectives came in and they began their investigation.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, Deputy Gilkey. I have no further questions for you.
Yes, sir.
Just very briefly, sir, that area that you found the body in, that wasn't a wooded area, correct?
It's partially wooded. Just depends on wherever that is.
Okay. Do you remember taking a deposition in this case?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember stating in the deposition when you asked if the area was wooded, you said, I wouldn't describe it as wooded?
Right.
Okay. No further questions.
Any further questions from the state?
No regret.
May Deputy Gilkey be released from his subpoena?
Yes, sir.
Any objection?
No objection.
Thank you, Deputy. You're released from your subpoena. You're free to stay or leave as you wish.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the state's next witness or item of evidence.
William Mullen.
William Mullen's up next, already on the third witness of this trial.
Please swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Morning.
Morning.
If you could, please state your full name and spell your last name for the record. William Drew Mullen III, M-U-L-L-A-N.
And what do you do for a living?
Self-employed.
All right. Back in 2018, did you own a business?
Yes.
Okay, and what business did you own?
There's a pizza restaurant in Vero Beach.
Okay. And during that time, would you ever have to travel along Russo Road in St. Lucie County?
Yes.
Okay, why would you travel along that road?
It was just a cut through from my house to get to Vero, so like a back road, stay away from traffic, that kind of stuff.
So what I want to do is I want to go back to August 23rd of 2018. Do you remember that day?
Yes.
Okay, was there something that occurred that led you to reach out to law enforcement?
Yes. That was the, are you talking about this is the day, during the day, right?
Or during the nighttime?
During the nighttime.
Is there something that you saw that on an evening along Russo Road?
Yes.
Okay. What is it that you saw as you were, well, first off, were you driving at night on August 23rd?
Yeah, at night, yes, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
And where were you going?
I was going back home from the pizza place. So I was pulling onto Russo Road, and usually there's nobody on that road at that time of night, and just so happened to be a truck sitting there. So.
All right. Now, before I ask you some questions about the truck, approximately what time of night is this?
This was between 11 and 11:30.
And if you could describe for the jury, you're turning down Russo Road.
Yes.
Describe for them what you see. If there is a vehicle, describe the vehicle. What do you see it doing?
Yeah. So as soon as I turned on the road, it was dark, and then all of a sudden, lights popped on. So it was probably about 150 yards down the road. So I thought that was very suspicious. So I started coming towards the vehicle, and that vehicle started coming towards me. I noticed it was a truck, and it was kind of creeping towards me. It was a silver or gray truck. Like a big truck, like a full-size truck, and it was like a clean truck. I noticed it had like shiny, like kind of chrome, like rims and pieces on the truck and whatnot. And then I just passed by the truck. So dark tint windows.
And you described something happening with the lights when you saw the truck?
Yeah. As soon as I pulled on the road, it was like the fog lights had popped on right away. Which I thought was suspicious, because instead of turning on all your lights, it was like fog lights. I feel like a lower light, so.
And that's my next question. So you described it as fog lights. Where would those lights be on the truck that you saw?
More down towards the bottom. So that's why I thought was suspicious. It wasn't like your normal headlight that popped on. It was like a light, two lights that were on the bottom. So.
LAB from Tennessee.
Approached the truck.
28 months.
What did it do?
OG.
Immediately started. I could tell it just started like kind of creeping towards me. So as I was going east from Johnson Road, it started coming west towards Johnson Road.
All right, and then where did that truck end up going?
Since it was kind of weird, I was watching it in my rearview mirror. It stopped at the stop sign, and then it took a right, which would be north on Johnson Road.
And did you do anything in response at this time?
No, I mean, I just kept going and went home that night, like normal. So
you didn't contact law enforcement?
Not that night, no.
All right, what caused you to end up to reaching out to law enforcement?
Well, this was my everyday route. So the next day when I was coming down that road, I noticed they had it blocked off. And I was coming west towards, I was on 27th Ave. I'm from Vero, so I call it 27th Ave. So then I went down to Indrio, went down, then went west, got on Johnson Road, started going towards Vero, and then when I came up on Russo Road, I noticed that there was police officers parked there, and I saw a tent set up right where I saw that truck. So I figured maybe I should stop and at least tell them, what I saw the night before in case it had something to do with it. So.
And is that what you ended up doing?
Yes. I immediately pulled over on the side of the road and spoke with the detective.
Thank you, Mr. Mullen. I don't have any other questions.
Cross-examination?
No cross-check.
Wow. No cross. No cross. No cross.
Yes, sir.
Any objection?
No objection.
Mr. Mullen, you are released from your subpoena. You're free to stay or leave as you wish. Thank you. And the state's next witness or item of evidence.
Yes, sir. The state calls Elizabeth Bedola.
Elizabeth Bedola is coming up next. Is the mother of the victim. Thank you, Josh, by the way.
Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Told that this took so long to come to trial because of change of counsel.
Morning, ma'am. Can you state your name for the record and spell your last name, please?
My name is Elizabeth Bedola. Last name.
Scoot up to the microphone, maybe we could angle it so we amplify her voice. There you go. Thank you.
Okay. My name is Elizabeth Bedola. Bedolla.
Okay. And did you know a female by the name of Tanya Wise?
Yes, she's my daughter.
Okay. She's your daughter. Okay. I want you to go ahead and describe Tanya for us. So first, way back on August 23rd of 2018, how old was Tanya?
She was 23.
I'm sorry?
She was 23.
Okay. And did she have children?
Yes. At home, she had an 8-year-old, Jamar, and she was pregnant.
Okay. How far along was she in her pregnancy?
She was about 8.5 months.
Okay. And had Tanya decided on the name of the baby?
She decided that on the baby shower. It's Josiah Thomas Wise.
Okay. A boy?
A boy.
Okay. And did she live with you on August 23rd of 2018?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Where did you guys live? What was the address?
2014.
Don't need the address.
Okay. Is that located near Bayshore Boulevard?
Yes.
Okay. And is there like a Winn-Dixie close to that area?
Yeah, if you continue the road, it's 2 blocks down. There's a Winn-Dixie.
Okay. Do you remember her phone number?
I believe so. It's 772-607.
This is no longer valid number.
Okay. And did you pay for her phone, or did somebody else pay for it?
Bradley paid for it.
And what's Bradley's name?
Bradley, I think it's Rodriguez. I'm not sure if Rodriguez or Hernandez, one of the two.
Bradley Rodriguez?
Uh-huh.
Bradley Rodriguez Jr.?
Yes.
Okay. So let me go back, and I want to focus you in on the events of August 23rd, 2018 in the evening time. Do you remember that time?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead. What were you doing around 8 in the evening on that day in your house?
Me and my daughter, Tanya, we had given her son a bath because he was going to school. So we gave him a bath around that time always. And I was going to get him dressed. She was going to go out. She needed to get drinks because he didn't have no drinks for lunch the next day.
Okay. And did she, about what time did she leave?
It's probably around anywhere between a little bit after 8. I mean, I said a little bit. I mean, I didn't exactly look at the clock, but I know it was a little bit after 8. Could have been 8:15, 8:20. It was around that time.
Okay. Okay. And when she left, where was she going again? I couldn't quite hear you. I'm sorry.
She was going to go get drinks for her son for school for his lunch.
Okay.
That's the purpose she left the house, because she had problems walking and everything because of her pregnancy. So she left just to get the drinks.
Okay. And was that the last time you ever saw your daughter Tanya?
Yeah, by the door. Yes.
Okay. And are you aware if Tanya had a follow-up doctor's appointment the following week?
Yes, it was a Tuesday for her C-section. They were going to schedule her C-section.
Okay. On the next Tuesday?
Mm-hmm.
And that was a scheduling appointment for her C-section?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. That's all the questions I have.
Any questions from the defense?
Ma'am, prior to your daughter's murder, you were aware that she was dating Bradley Rodriguez Jr., correct?
Yeah, they kind of had some type of relationship.
Because he actually lived with you in your house, is that right?
For a short period of time.
Okay, and in March of 2013, you had actually kicked him out of your house, right?
Correct.
And that's because he got violent with Tanya?
I didn't like the way he treated her, yes.
Okay, but he laid hands on her in front of you?
I don't recall seeing him hitting her at all, but I just didn't like the way he treated my daughter.
You were also aware that she was dating another gentleman by the name of Mark Burke?
Objection, relevance.
Overrule the objection. You may answer the question.
She was dating him. Like she separated from Mark. They kept a friendship and she dated Mark.
Were you aware that Rodriguez, Mr. Bradley Rodriguez Jr. would threaten Tanya?
Objection, relevance, and exceeds the scope of direct examination.
Ooh.
I'm concerned about. No, I'll overrule the objection. You can answer the question.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Were you aware that Mr. Bradley Rodriguez Jr. had been threatening Tanya?
At one point, she had mentioned it to me. Ooh.
Did you believe that Bradley Rodriguez Jr. was the father of your daughter's child?
Objection, calls for speculation.
I'll sustain the objection as to what this person's opinion was is irrelevant for purposes of the trial.
Around August 15th or 16th of that year, you took your daughter to Bradley Rodriguez Jr.'s house to pick up the baby clothes, is that right?
Yes.
And you told law enforcement that Mr. Burke actually was also abusive with your daughter, right?
Objection, hearsay.
Hold on a second.
I'll rephrase the question.
Okay, if you want to rephrase it.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Burke was violent with your daughter, correct?
I think he was.
Had your daughter just started speaking with another gentleman who went by the nickname of Casino, but his real name was Jared Christie?
That was her friend, yes.
I don't have any further questions.
Direct from the state.
No regret.
All right, thank you. Now you may step down from the witness stand. And the state's next witness are item of evidence.
Yes, sir. The people sent forward to call Dr. Linda O'Neill.
Flying through the witnesses here. Defense is trying to introduce that reasonable doubt. Oh, they've got crime scene tape up in the courtroom to keep people off that front row. That's interesting. Never seen that before. I'm hoping it isn't actually a crime scene and they just use what they had on hand. Associate medical examiner coming up right now. Josh, thanks for the pins.
Please swear affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I do. Thank you.
Good morning.
Nice little hyperdeck back there on that
State your
chair.
name for the
I have
record
that one.
and spell your last name, please.
I have two of
Linda
those.
Rush O'Neill, O''Neil.
Okay. And Miss O'Neill, what did you do for a living back on August 23rd of 2018, 25th of 2018?
I was an associate medical examiner for District 19 Medical Examiner's Office in the state of Florida.
Okay. Can you give the jury a thumbnail sketch of your education, your training, and your experience, please?
I graduated from the University of Memphis in 1987 with a Bachelor's of Science degree. Following that, I attended East Tennessee State University Quillen College of Medicine, where I graduated with a medical degree in 1992. After that, I did a 5-year residency program, which I completed in St. Louis at St. Louis University Hospital in St. Louis. After that, I did a 1-year fellowship training in forensic pathology at the Broward County Medical Examiner's Office in Broward County, Florida.
Okay. And are you licensed to practice medicine in the state of Florida?
I am.
Okay. And I want to talk specifically about your career track. And you just mentioned Broward County. So can you go ahead and elaborate on that for the jury? What did you do in Broward County?
I joined there. I did my fellowship training there, and then I joined as an associate medical examiner there in January of 1999. I continued to work for the Broward County Medical Examiner's Office until 2004, and then I became an associate medical examiner for the West Palm Beach County Medical Examiner's Office, and I was there until May of 2009, which at that time I joined the District 19 Medical Examiner's Office, and I was there until I retired in 2020.
Okay. And go ahead and just give the jury a general description of what a medical examiner does on a day-to-day basis.
Basically, in the state of Florida, a medical examiner is investigating certain deaths that fall under their jurisdiction. Most of them, of which we do autopsy examinations on, and the autopsy examinations are done to determine cause and manner of death.
Okay. And go ahead and describe what an autopsy is. Give the jury an overview about what an autopsy is. What an autopsy is, I'm sorry.
Basically, an autopsy is an examination of a deceased person. It's an external examination of the body and an internal examination of the body. The external examination of the body is not only just the characteristics of the body, female, male, height, weight, also whatever's on the body, be clothing or anything else that you would find on the body. Evidence would be collected from the body. Then there would be documentation of injuries or any other kind of abnormalities on the external part of the body. Photographs would be taken during all these parts of the autopsy examination. Sometimes x-rays are taken prior to the internal examination, and then an internal examination is done in which the chest cavity is open, the abdominal cavity is open, the cranial cavity is open, and all the organs inside those cavities are taken out and examined.
Okay. And approximately how many autopsies have you performed in your entire career?
I don't remember the exact count, but when I retired, it was over 5,000.
Okay. And have you ever testified in circuit court regarding your findings from an autopsy?
I have.
Approximately how many times?
Over 100 times. I don't have an exact number.
Sure. And were you working on August 25th of 2018?
I was.
Okay. And what were you doing that day?
That day, on August 25th of 2018, I became involved with the case of Tania Wise and did an autopsy examination on her that morning.
Okay. And what materials did you review in order to form your opinions in this case?
You mean just recently or at the time?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, obviously all the findings of the medical examiner's office, any information that would be given to me by law enforcement or their personnel, laboratory findings, because we do other things like toxicology analysis and microscopic examinations. We did x-ray examinations on her body, so all of those would have been involved in determining the cause and manner of death.
Okay, thank you. And You mentioned a toxicology test.
Yes.
Was it? We'll start there. Was a toxicology test performed on Tanya Waz?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and first explain what the toxicology test is and what it's testing for.
During the autopsy examination, we take blood and other body fluids. Those are sent to a laboratory that does the toxicology testing. They test for, they do drug screen and alcohol screen, testing for the presence of those in the body, and that was done in this case.
Okay. And what were the results?
The results in this case, I took heart blood from her body, and the heart blood showed a level of 0.017 grams per deciliter of ethanol. Also, at the time of the autopsy, I took vitreous fluid, which is fluid from the eye, and that was tested and showed no ethanol present in that specimen.
Okay. And ethanol is alcohol?
Correct.
Okay. So can you go ahead and explain to the jury why that number for ethanol is important to them?
Yes. In this case, there was some decomposition occurring, and ethanol can be created by bacteria that is in the body and is affecting the body after when decomposition starts. It can create ethanol in the body. So her level was so small that in all likelihood, in my opinion, it's from the decomposition, because the vitreous fluid in the eye, there's none present. And also, on this particular autopsy, there was a collection of blood in the cranial cavity called subdural hemorrhage, which would be unlikely as affected by bacterial decomposition than the heart blood would be. And it showed no evidence of ethanol either. So none in the vitreous fluid, none in the ocular fluid, and just a small amount in the heart blood fluid.
Okay. Is that more consistent with decomposition and inconsistent with ingesting alcohol, like beer, wine, etc.?
Yes.
Okay. And did you, I think you mentioned it earlier, but as part of your autopsy, do you take photos to document the injuries and the other important aspects of the autopsy?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to show you what has been marked as State's Exhibits number 118 through 143. If you could take a look at those for me for a second.
What were those numbers, Mr. Richards?
118 to 143.
Apparently the entire defense in this case is to just say, but it could have been somebody else. I'm sure my client talked about doing it and said he did it, and that was recorded, but it could have been somebody else. It's a tough, that's a tough set of facts to deal with as a defense attorney. Absorbing these by osmosis. This is what I look like when I'm reading a text on my phone. You're like, oh, R.A.'s tired, he's sleeping. No, I'm just looking down and it looks like your eyes
These
are
are all
closed.
photographs from the autopsy examination.
Okay. And those exhibits right there, 118 through 143, are those fair and accurate depictions of the autopsy that you performed on Tanya Waz and her baby Josiah?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, the state moves into evidence 118 to 143.
Any objection?
No objection.
Those items will come into evidence without objection.
And permission to publish.
You may.
Okay. So here we're looking at exhibit number 118. Go ahead and just
autopsy
briefly
pictures in the courtroom.
describe what we're looking at here, Doctor.
Hoping we don't see these.
This is an initial photograph. This is how she was at the medical examiner's office before we started any of the examination. So it's an initial photograph showing her at the medical examiner's office.
Okay. And is it part of your process for every autopsy to take photographs like this where the victim comes in or the body comes in and you take initial photographs without unclothing them first?
Yes.
Okay. And let's advance to exhibit number 119. And same question, what are we looking at here?
This is an identification photograph. This is taken after the body is cleaned so we can get a good picture of the face for identification.
Okay. And I first noticed there's some red marks on her face and shoulders and chest and arms. Can you explain to the jury what that is?
One of the things that happens after we die is the postmortem settling of the blood, which is called livor mortis or lividity. When we die, our blood stops moving in our body, and it will settle to the dependent area by gravity. So
Still
if you're on your back, it can settle on the back. If you're lying face down, it can settle on the front of the body. And for a period of time, that can move. Like for a period of time, if someone was on their face and moved over to their back, the lividity can move to the back, and vice versa, or in any other way that gravity is affecting the body. But after a certain amount of time, that lividity becomes fixed, which means that it's not going to move when the body moves. So it's fixed in the position of the dependent gravity in a body position.
Defense had a change of staff, changed defense attorneys, caused the delay.
Okay. So here we are looking at exhibit number 120. What exactly do you see here, doctor, that's important to you?
This is a photograph of a wound on the top of the head. It's on the top of the head, but the posterior aspect, so the top back of the head. You can see there through the head hair, you can see that there is a large wound that's visible.
Got it, Josh.
Okay. And exhibit number 121, please.
Again, that's a close-up showing that this is a gaping wound, and it's a full thickness gaping wound, because even now, even with head hair there, you can see at the bottom of that photograph skull, you can see visible skull through the margins of the wound.
Okay. And exhibit number 122, please.
This is that same wound. This is after the head hair around it has been shaved, so you can get a better look at the margins of the wound and the tissue involving the wound, and then again you can see the skull through the base of that laceration.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, we're looking at exhibit 122 here. Okay, so tell us about this wound, doctor. Can you go into more detail about that wound? First of all, what do you believe caused it, and what were the consequences from it?
Well, this type of wound is a blunt trauma injury, meaning that it's a forceful blow to the body. Blunt trauma injuries include bruises or contusions. It includes abrasions, scraping of skin. It includes lacerations, which is kind of a crush and tear injury of the skin. And fractures are also common blunt trauma injuries. In this case, this wound is a full thickness laceration or blunt force trauma. And there is fracture of the skull too underlying this. So this is a full thickness laceration, full thickness blunt force injury, which would have been a very forceful blow with some type of heavy object. I can't say specifically what that object was.
Is this something that could have been caused by human hands, or does it require something heavier and more substantial?
I cannot think of a way that this could have been caused by a human hand.
Okay. So When you say a heavy object, can you elaborate on that?
Objection, Judge Elster.
I'll overrule the speculation objection so long as it's within your ability as a doctor to describe it with some specificity.
Heavy object being something not lightweight, something with some weight to it, and it would be used forcefully to cause this injury.
Okay. Would it have had to have had a sharp edge to it at some point?
This is a blunt force injury, so blunt force injuries wouldn't necessarily be caused by anything sharp. There's no sharp margin of the wound. When you think of a laceration is kind of a crushing, tearing injury. Like if you had a piece of material and you tore it and you have those little bridging fibers between it, that's kind of what happens with a laceration that you can see in that photograph. A sharp force injury is going to have smoother margins, like if you had that same material and you cut it with scissors, and it would be nice and smooth on each side. So this is a blunt force injury.
Okay. If we could advance to the next slide, which is exhibit 123. 123? What are we looking at here?
This is the same wound. In the previous photographs, it's gaping open. So we try to reapproximate the margins to see if we can get any other identifying features, not necessarily to determine right from the picture what it was, but if we have something that we could compare it to later, it might help, in that comparison.
In exhibit 124.
That is the same wound, reapproximated with the margins pushed together. You can see there's some perpendicular lacerations extending from the margins of the wound.
Okay, and how long was this wound?
The wound was 9 centimeters in length, which is approximately 3.5 inches.
Okay. And go ahead and describe the consequences of this wound. What conditions did you see? What flowed from that?
Well, on the internal examination, when the skin is removed from the scalp, there's a skull fracture that's visible. And then when the top of the cranium is taken off and we look at the brain inside, there's actual bruising of the brain. There's subarachnoid hemorrhage of the brain, which is the thin layer that covers the brain itself. And then the dura, which is a thicker membrane around the brain, there was subdural hemorrhage or hemorrhage underneath that dura. So it not only affected the skin and the skull, it also affected the brain.
Okay. And when you say subdural hemorrhage, what exactly does that mean?
That means that there's collection of blood, that there was bleeding inside the cranial cavity that collected in the subdural space.
Okay. And you also used a word that I have the same question for, subarachnoid hemorrhage. What is that?
The arachnoid layer is a very thin, translucent tissue that covers the external part of the brain. And so it would be hemorrhage underneath that layer.
And you indicated that there was a skull fracture present as well?
Correct.
Okay, can you describe that for the group?
The skull fracture starts at the point where you see this laceration, and it curves around to the left side of the skull, the left parietal and frontal region of the skull. So it's a linear fracture extending from the point of the blow.
And is there also cerebral edema?
Yes.
Present? Can you explain to the jury what that is?
When the brain undergoes trauma like this, one of the things that quickly happens is the brain swells because of the injury. So cerebral edema is swelling of the brain.
Okay. Dr. O'Neill, can you, based on your training and experience, can you describe for the jury, as best you can, how much force was used to cause the injuries to Miss Wise's head that we've seen thus far?
Well, what I can say is it's extreme force. It's one forceful blow with an instrument that would be heavy enough to create that wound.
Okay. Is the wound that you just described and the pictures that correspond to it Would that have automatically rendered Miss Wise unconscious, or could she have maintained at least some measure of consciousness after receiving that blow?
It may or may not have rendered her immediately unconscious.
And I want you to set aside the other injuries and just focus on this injury, okay? If we set aside those injuries, is this head wound, is this head injury sufficient by itself to cause death, assuming that there's no immediate medical attention that Miss Wise could have received?
Yes, this one could have caused death.
Okay. Now, as we're sitting here, you've just described the injury, we've seen the photos. Let me ask you this. Did Miss Wise feel a high degree of pain as a result of this injury?
Objection, calls for speculation.
How would you approach?
Now the approach on this one, and we get some static asking on the degree of pain that this would have caused. Close up of the tie, looks good. Defendant has been writing, keeping pretty, almost like a interested face, like he's slightly curious about the occurrences that are going on around him, keeping writing notes as well. This is a death penalty case. Sidebar was quick. It's over.
And then let's proceed to the next exhibit. What number is it? Okay. We're looking at 125. I'm sorry. Go ahead and describe this.
Possibly sustained on that one.
This is a photograph of the same injury. The skull is present at the base.
Okay. And 126? What are we looking at here?
This is a photograph of the skull after the scalp has been removed. During the autopsy examination,
he was never given bail.
You make an incision across the top of the scalp and reflect it forward and reflect it backward.
He's looking back
so
at
this
Mom.
injury, that you can see the skull is visible. The entire skull is visible.
He's trying to make eye
and
contact
you can see
with
that
her
linear.
mom.
There's a line that's going in the picture. It's horizontal, just above where the ruler is, and that's the fracture. The point of impact being on the right side of that, and then that linear fracture extending across that photograph.
Okay.
He's looking across to where the mom is. I think that's where he was trying to make eye contact.
We're looking at 127 here. Go ahead and explain what we're looking at here.
Again, that is the fracture, linear fracture. The top of the head is actually just above the ruler there. The top of the head is towards the right. So that would have been underlying that point of impact. And then you see the linear fracture. It gives you a little bit better location of how that fracture starts at the top posterior part of the head and then goes around the left side of the skull.
Okay. And 128, please.
So she's looking at the image.
Again, what are we looking at?
This is a photograph of the brain.
There are a couple screens that are showing this.
After the skull cap has been removed. You can see there's darker red regions of the brain, and then there's more pink or lighter regions of the brain. The darker red regions are where there is hemorrhage and contusion.
She's looking at the jury when she looks far to the right.
And that would
now she's looking at the questioner.
There's a little thin translucent membrane. That's the subarachnoid.
That's the jury
membrane that we were talking about. And you can see that there's hemorrhage underneath that.
In the picture. So she can see the picture straight in front.
Which is 129.
So she's looking at the screen right here.
Let's transition from the head injury to other injuries over the body. What were the locations?
There's no way he has to look at the screen like that. No way.
There was a large incised wound that extends from the front of the neck to the back of the neck. And then in this photograph, you see a smaller incised wound, which is on the left clavicular region of the body, so just near the left clavicle. That's an incised wound. That's a sharp wound. If you look at the margins of that wound, you see they're nice and smooth. So it's caused by something that's sharp.
I believe we're looking at 129 here. And go ahead and I believe you said this was on the clavicle?
In the clavicular region of, yes.
Okay. And how deep and long was this wound?
This one was 2 centimeters in length and 0.5 centimeters in depth. To give you a comparison, 2.54 inches is related to a centimeter. So, 2.54 inches. I believe that's correct.
6 centimeters to the inch.
Okay. And we'll move on to Exhibit 130. What are we looking at here?
This is the incised wound of the neck. This wound starts in the front of the neck and goes around to the right side of the neck and to the right back of the neck. This is the incised wound at the anterior margin, and it's really bifurcated. Right here, you're seeing one margin of that wound. If we go to another photograph, I think you'll see that there's more than.
Yes, ma'am. We'll go to 131.
Right. So this is the wound margin when the head is tilted back, and you can see that there are 2 distinct lines, a V-shaped bifurcation of the anterior part of the neck where this incised wound starts at the front of the neck. You can see it goes full thickness through the skin, and then it goes around the side of the neck to the back of the neck. In this case, there are 2 wound tracts that merge. So there's 2 incised wounds that merge into one wound tract.
Meaning that there were 2 wounds, not one. This is not one continuous wound. This is 2.
2, yes.
Okay. And can you explain and describe for the jury how long each wound was, as well as the depth?
Yes. I believe I said it backwards before. So an inch is 2.54 centimeters. To give you, I think I said it backwards last time. But this wound in centimeters was 19 centimeters in length. And in inches, that would be 7.5 inches in length.
Okay. And the depth?
The depth of the wound ranged from in the deepest part of that wound, it went to 1 1/2 inches, and in other areas is 1 1/4 inches in depth.
Okay. At any point along that wound, did it approach or even touch the neck bone or any bone in the neck?
At its deepest margin on the lateral neck, you could see the cervical vertebrae at the base of the wound, yes.
And describe the amount of force that would have had to have been used to create those wounds that we're seeing here in Exhibit 131.
This would have been caused with a sharp force instrument. So it's a cutting, incised, sharp force injury. So depending on the wound and how sharp it was, it would depend on the force.
You mean the instrument? You said the wound and how sharp it was. You mean the instrument?
The instrument would have a sharp edge, yes.
Okay. So go ahead.
The judge.
Yeah, so depending
interjects
on
there.
the instrument and the sharpness of the instrument, that would depend on how much force it would take to create these injuries.
Okay. And what is the directionality of these incised wounds?
These wounds start on the front of the neck and end on the posterior part of the neck.
Okay. So front to back.
Front to back.
And if we could advance to the next slide.
Now we're back to the ambient courtroom mics.
Now we're looking at Exhibit 132. Go ahead and describe this for the jury.
So this is on the right side of the neck. This is where those 2 incised wounds have merged together and have created one larger incised wound. And you're looking at that wound gaping open on the right side of the neck.
Okay. And the next exhibit? 133.
Again, that's the incised wound. You can see the bifurcation on the anterior neck. And then on the right side of the neck, you can see that there is depth to this wound. You can see where it's gaping open. Those are the regions where it went the deepest on the right side of the neck.
And Exhibit 134.
This is showing the wound approaching towards the back of the neck. So this is the right side of the neck, and the wound continues to the posterior right neck.
Okay. And Exhibit 135. What are we looking at?
Because there's an inside wound of the neck, we want to see what things were damaged by that. There's obviously skin, soft tissue, and some muscular damage because of the sharp force trauma. But also we're looking at the vessels, what vessels would have been affected in the neck. In this photograph, you can see the forceps is holding up. This is the external right jugular vein that's completely transected. You can see the hole underneath the forceps, where the forceps holding it open. That's the jugular vein incised open.
Okay, and just a little bit more detail. What is the purpose, or what does the jugular vein do?
The external jugular vein, it drains blood from our scalp and face. It's draining it from our head in those regions and taking it back to the heart.
Okay, and and we're seeing here that the external jugular vein has been cut or severed. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Can you describe for the jury the amount of loss of blood that would have resulted from this wound?
Well, this wound, there would be quite a bit of blood lost from this wound, and this blood loss from this wound could cause death in and of itself if it's not medically treated.
Okay. And the next slide. 136 we're looking at here?
That's a close-up of that external jugular vein. You can see it better in this photograph. The opening there is the external jugular vein incised open.
Okay. Exhibit 137.
And this is the posterior neck. So you can see that this incised wound goes all the way around from the front of the neck, the right side of the neck, to the back of the neck.
And I want to return to the head injury for a second. Okay. As you know from the materials, the victim was found in near some vomit. Can you describe to the jury what would have caused the vomit?
Well, nausea and vomiting is not uncommon with head wounds and head trauma.
So the head wound was first.
In this instance, that type of head injury could induce vomiting.
Okay. Is there a relationship between the victim vomiting and the loss of consciousness or the ability to stay conscious?
No.
Okay. And did you observe?
Could you re-ask and clarify that question and answer? I'm not sure I understood.
Okay.
The judge
with
steps in.
respect to the vomit, okay, when somebody vomits, does that mean that can someone vomit in a state of unconsciousness?
Yes.
Okay. And did you observe any defensive wounds on Miss Wise's body?
I did not.
Okay. And based on the materials that you've read and your overall understanding of the case, based on your examination and your photographs and everything that you've described, can you tell the jury what can you tell the jury about the time of death in this case?
Time of death is it's a very difficult thing to determine. There are factors that we look at to see if we can narrow down a time frame. Basically, when we're looking at time of death, in a case like this where a body is found outside, we start with the window that's the easiest, which is when do we know they were last alive, when can we verify they were alive, and then when were they found. So that's the time frame we start with. As far as I recall, I believe she was last known to be alive around 8 o'clock the night prior, and then she's seen by a passerby close to 11 o'clock in the morning the next day. So that's our time frame window. And then we look at other factors of the body to see if we can make any determination of anything that we can narrow that down. One of the things that we look at is the stiffening of the body. Stiffening or rigidity or rigor mortis is when the body, after someone dies, because of reactions that are happening in the muscle fibers of the body is first flaccid, then it becomes stiff, fully stiff for a certain period of time, and then that stiffness goes away. Typically, and under normal circumstances, that rigidity, it would take approximately 12 hours for it to become really full, so a person is really fully stiff. Then it would stay about 12 hours, and then after that, it would go away in 12 hours. So in about 36 hours, they've gone through the whole range. She was seen there at 10:53. Investigator from our office was at this scene around 1 o'clock and noted that there was full rigidity. So at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, on August the 24th, she was in full rigidity. Another thing that we look at when we're looking at the body is the lividity that we just discussed. The lividity is the pooling of the blood. The blood goes to where the lowest point that gravity is taking it, and it will stay there. And if it stays there and the body's not moved, it becomes fixed. In other words, even if we move the body after that, that lividity is not going to move. That usually takes somewhere between 8 and 12 hours. So in her case, at 1 o'clock, the investigator's there, she's moved, and her lividity is on the interior part of the body. So the next day, when I do the examination of the body, it's still on the anterior part of the body, which means it was fixed there. So at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, that was fixed. So if we look at those time frames, assuming that the rigidity is there at 1 o'clock and the lividity is fixed at 1 o'clock, it could be at least 12 hours from the time of her death, and it can be longer, up to 24, which we know it wasn't that long because we know that she was alive.
Before you continue on with your examination, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we're going to take our mid-morning bathroom break for 10 minutes. Please remember, leave your notes on your chairs. Do not discuss the case with each other. Please proceed to the jury room. Feel free to use the restrooms, and we'll be with you in about 10 minutes.
Judge calls a bathroom break at 11. We are on Eastern time in this court in Florida. Mom has been keeping her eyes closed for the duration of these pictures as they're presented. Judge has a big eagle on his desk. The language on the wall says that the court uses an audio recording system.
All right, jury has exited the courtroom. We'll take a 10-minute bathroom break, recess. We'll come back in 10 minutes. Go off the record.
And the equipment is sensitive enough to pick up a conversation anywhere in the courtroom. Oops. The default was not. We'll reprogram that as the default. How about right there? There we go. Beautiful steel there. High relief. I like the gold motif. Florida has a big connection with gold in my mind because of the Treasure Coast. This is going to be a tough one. First of all, it's a tough case because of the evidence we've heard, but I think it'd be tough for the defense. The state opened up with their open by reading quotes that were apparently captured on either video and or audio, and their quotes of basically, I have to do it. I'm gonna, if my wife finds out, I'd lose everything. Should I strangle her? Should I just make it one big blow? It's quite damning. And then also discussion afterwards of, was there blood? No, I washed my hands with, there was blood, but I washed my hands with brake cleaner. They find evidence of blood in his truck. I'm reading through. Josh sent me this the statement he provided the police. Let's see. He denies that he had an affair with her, denies that it's his kid that she's pregnant with. Just says he was not close to her. The only contact he has is with her coming over to let their children play together. He says he's never had sexual relations with her and that she never even flirted with him. He says that his wife and the victim would go out and eat, and that was it. So they were friends. He said Wise was in his phone under Loca for her new number and blank for her old number. Said that Wise would talk to him like a brother or uncle. He said that Wise is probably still hanging out with Burke. Man, he does not know if Wise was still talking to Burke or has never seen her dance, referring to stripping. He said he's never been to any strip clubs around here, only in WPB a long time ago. He said he has a wife and does not need to pay for blank. He said there were many guys that Wise talked to that he would not know which way to go for more information. So basically denies everything. Says the only contacts he's had with her was because their kids would play together. And then, there's no reason she's never been in his truck. There's no reason for, any of her DNA to be found there. Thanks, RA, for awesome coverage and kindness. Hooked at Brooks. Love the community. Cass, OG. Congratulations. 23 months. But, they have a recording of him telling his nephew, who was covered in blood. I'm curious about these recordings. Did their nephew just record these out of, surreptitiously? Or was this the garbage truck for safety reasons? The company, has cameras rolling and just caught everything that happened in the cab. This is wild. Excuse me. This is an older case, 2018. The reason why we're just in court now, no, this is not a retrial, but the reason why it took so long is that the defense changed entirely, got an entirely new, different defense team. And so you had one set that went through most of the motions preparing for trial. Then he switched defense, which would indicate either there was a conflict, which I doubt if they went that far and then discovered a conflict, or he went from public defenders to private, or he just had a disagreement with his private defender if he's had a private defender all along. But either way, he chose to get new lawyers, and they needed time to get up to speed on the case. Let's see. If that's what happened, he must have known the cameras were in the truck. I don't think he did. Can the nephew be charged? It depends. I don't know. If the nephew recorded this and turned it in, which I don't think happened because of how the facts went down. I don't know. If he is charged, it's going to be a different set of crimes. It doesn't sound like the nephew was planning it. They were just discussing it. But it would, there might be some level of accomplice type charges that might be applicable. But that would be a separate trial. And maybe it's already done. You forget about the cameras when they're there daily. I can fast forward. Hang on one second. Give me a second to do that. I'm just trying to answer questions here. Here we go. We're back. Break's over. We're just a little bit behind.
All All right, and you may continue with the witness.
She can choose to stay. That's her choice.
Regarding this neck wound, if you were to set aside the other injuries in this case,
so maybe it is pictures,
and simply look and examine the neck wound on its own, by itself, is that sufficient to cause the death of Tanya Wise? So if she did not receive immediate medical attention?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And part and parcel to your autopsy, is there a process by which a blood standard is collected?
At the autopsy examination, we do collect a blood standard DNA sample.
Okay, and what is the purpose of that?
It could be for anything, for comparison with other DNA, for comparison with evidence, for anything that might come up in the future.
Okay, so if investigators find a blood spot and they don't know the identity, would they be able to take the blood standard and then compare it to see if there's a match?
Correct.
Okay, I'm going to show you what has been marked as states number 144. Do you recognize this? And you can open it up if you need to.
This is an envelope that contains post-mortem evidence collection, Tania Wise, her autopsy number, and the date of the autopsy examination are on the envelope, and my initials are signed on this. So this would have been collected at the time of the autopsy.
Okay, and is that the blood standard of Tania Wise?
I can't see inside the envelope, but this would be an envelope that would be in. This is a DNA standard envelope.
Okay, is the packaging consistent with that being a blood standard of Tania Wise?
Yes.
Okay, and are your initials actually on that?
Yes.
Okay. Does it appear to be in the same or substantially the same condition that it was in when it was collected on August 25th of 2018?
There are other initials and other tape on here that have been added since I did this.
Sure.
So it's been to other places, but the envelope, yes, is in the same type of condition, yes.
Sure. Okay, thank you. Your Honor, the state moves into evidence exhibit number 144.
Now the jury can see it.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay,
Zircon, black nitrile gloves.
To the baby, Josiah Wise. And I'm going to show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit number 138 for identification purposes. What are we looking at here?
During the autopsy examination, as we open body cavities, we take photographs of things that are, any findings, internal findings. This is the abdominal cavity of Tania Wise opened, and that large object you see there is the uterus, the womb, and it is extremely enlarged because of a pregnancy.
Okay. And turn your attention now, and we'll move ahead to Exhibit 139. What is that?
This is a photograph of the womb opened up. The head of inside this amniotic sac, you can see, which is still intact. There's a fetus, a near full-term fetus. The head of the fetus is toward the birth canal, the vaginal canal.
So the baby had
So it
already
would be
turned.
in a head-first type of positioning, and it's a near full-term fetus.
Okay, so it was head first into the womb. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. In exhibit number 140.
This is the baby after I've incised the amniotic sac and I'm removing the baby from the body. You can see that this is the same position it was in. Full-term child with no abnormalities noted. Full-term fetus, near full-term fetus with no abnormalities noted.
Okay. And exhibit number 141.
This is the fetus, Josiah Wise, on the examination table. You can see that anatomically is well-formed male fetus. All the weights and measurements are consistent with the estimated gestational age of 38 weeks.
Okay. Exhibit number 142.
And this is the back showing there's no abnormalities, nothing abnormal about the development of this fetus.
Okay. And exhibit, finally, the last exhibit is 143.
Again, this is examination of the fetus showing that it's well-formed, all extremities are well-formed, hands, feet, fingers, and toes are all well-formed, head and face are well-formed.
Did you weigh the baby and measure the baby?
Yes.
Okay. Can you describe your results?
The weight was 5.22 pounds, and the measurement was 20 inches in length.
Okay. And I believe you said that there were no abnormalities. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Based on your autopsy as well as your review of Ms. Wise's medical records, is there any indication that this was anything other than a healthy baby boy?
No.
This was a healthy baby boy?
Yes.
Okay. Did the baby live after Ms. Wise died, or did they die at the same time? Can you provide some detail on that issue?
At this gestational age, that infant, any infant or fetus inside the womb is dependent on the mother's blood flow for nutrients and oxygen. When the mother has died, that blood flow stops, so the infant doesn't die instantaneously, but as it's depleted from oxygen and blood flow, it would die after she died, in a matter of minutes.
Okay. And what was the baby's cause of death?
Well, this was an intrauterine fetal demise, and it was an intrauterine fetal demise due to the maternal death due to blunt and sharp force trauma.
Okay. And final few questions. Based on your training and experience, could the head injury to Tanya Wise have occurred before the neck injury?
It could have, yes.
Okay. That's all the questions I have. Thank you very much.
Cross-examination.
Thank you, Judge. Just very briefly. Ma'am, you said that you reviewed Ms. Wise's medical records?
Yes, I was given medical records to look at.
Okay, and did that include her records from her OBGYN?
There were some OBGYN records, yes.
Okay, and you are aware then at the date of her last appointment with her OBGYN on August 13th of 2018 that they estimated that the fetus was 31 weeks gestation. Is that correct?
I don't recall that from that one.
Would it refresh your recollection if I showed you her OBGYN's records from that date?
Okay.
Permission to approach the witness, Judge? Thank you, Judge.
Their estimation and her measurements, I would take her measurements over the estimation for sure.
You'll see the date right there.
Yes.
And then the
August 13th.
highlighted portion right there.
Gestational age. It does say 31 weeks.
Okay, so on Ms. Wise's visit to her OBGYN who had been monitoring her pregnancy the entire time, on August 13th of 2018, her OBGYN noted that the baby's gestational age was 31 weeks. Is that correct?
According to those medical records, that's what they put in their medical records, yes.
Okay, and that was her OBGYN for the entirety of her pregnancy, correct?
I don't recall, but possibly yes.
Okay, would you like to see all of his medical records?
No, thank you.
Okay.
If that was her OBGYN, that was her OBGYN.
Okay, and also on that record that I just showed you, the estimated date of delivery for the fetus was October 15th of 2018. Is that correct?
I don't know if that's correct or not.
Would it refresh your recollection again if I showed you the OBGYN's records that you reviewed?
I don't know if I reviewed those specifically, but you can show them to me.
Sure,
yes.
permission to approach the witness. Thank you.
I think defense is trying to show that it wasn't like a now or never type situation.
Yes, it just says, it does say 10/15/2018.
EDD, estimated date of delivery, correct?
That's correct.
And, ma'am, in your review of Ms. Wise's OBGYN's records, you learned that she had something called SVT.
Yes.
Okay, can you explain to the jury what SVT is?
SVT is supraventricular tachycardia, meaning that the heart can go into a rapid beat.
And it can be potentially fatal for the mother and the fetus, is that correct?
It's potentially fatal, yes.
Okay, and that's why Ms. Wise's pregnancy was actually a high-risk pregnancy.
That, along with, I think that she had had a previous C-section also.
And just one final question. I think that you said this when you were talking to the state, but there was no independent injury to the fetus, correct?
That's correct.
No further questions, Judge.
Any further questions from the state?
The difference in gestational age of the child, does that affect the cause of death for the child?
No.
No further questions.
And may Dr. O'Neill be released from her subpoena at this time?
Subject to recall, sir.
You may step down subject to recall from the attorneys. Please be sure to have a contact number for them to get in touch with you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our lunch break a little bit early now because the attorneys have some business to attend to outside of your presence to keep the case streamlined. And counsel, if we could get 12:45 suffice, we got done a little bit earlier than I thought. 12:45. So take your lunch break. Don't discuss the case with anyone. Don't do any research whatsoever. Please leave your notes there. Let's aim at 12:45 coming back into session. Thank you.
All right. That means they're taking a lunch. We will also take a lunch. This courtroom is equipped with an electronic surveillance or electronic recording system. The equipment is sensitive enough to record audible conversations anywhere in the courtroom. You've been warned. If you say it, we will hear it. It is early. It's 11:22. There's Mom looking over at the defendant. She's staying in the courtroom for this. Might stay for the, if she's here for this part, she might stay for the entire trial. It's the hardest part, I'm sure.
Jury has exited. Before we break, there was that issue that the state mentioned earlier about taking testimony outside the presence of the jury to establish the unavailability of Ms. Lim, I think it was. Lim?
Yes, sir.
Did you want to do that at 12:30, perhaps?
I don't know if I can get my witness here in time.
Okay.
I'll try to get her here as quickly as I can. I just don't know.
Well, it might be convenient, just to, since we got the time, or I don't know when you were planning on putting on her testimony.
Yeah. Either today. We might be able to get to it tomorrow.
Okay. So we'll come back at 12:45 then.
Okay.
We're here. Enjoy your lunch. We'll see you at 12:45. Go off the record.
Off the record. Yes, those are microphones hanging down. And we're going to go to lunch. We've got an hour for lunch. We'll be back at 12:30. Let me give you a quick synopsis of the case really quickly. Not sure what they're showing us. The dark corners of the courtroom, apparently. What we have here is a defendant who's accused of murdering his paramour, who was 8.5 months pregnant. And the defendant was a garbage man, basically chose a spot to dump her body where he thought no one would ever find her, thought no one would look for her, and for some reason he thought that like the first 48 hours, as long as no one found her in 48 hours, she would be gone. I'm not sure if he was depending on some sort of animals or something to, get rid of evidence. But, yeah, portal's set up. We're all set up. Don't worry. Just say it, side piece. Okay. I don't know the relationship they had, but it seems from the prosecution's opening that the defendant, and he was recorded saying this to his nephew or cousin, I don't know, relative, somebody possibly somebody he worked with on the garbage truck, that that if his wife finds out that this girl is going to have his baby, he loses everything, and he has to do it. He has no other choice, and then even discusses how to go about committing the murder. Says he's got a spot picked out. His truck was spotted there by witnesses about around the time that her body was dumped there, presumably, or that she was killed there. Anyway, it seems like a pretty solid case from the prosecution. They had a very brief, like a short time, I'm thinking 20 minutes at max opening. Could have been less than that, and basically just spelled out and said, we're gonna show you and play his recordings, and you're gonna hear him describe exactly what we're accusing him of, and we're charging him with murder for his paramour and her unborn child, which I believe we're gonna hear was his child. So that's where we're at. That's where we're at. We are going to go to a break here in just a minute. Actually, right now we're gonna go to lunch. I know it's a little bit early. Those of you who are here joining us from the West Coast are still washing your breakfast dishes. That's okay. That's okay. Is it still quiet for you, Laura? I'm sorry. I'm talking quietly. I'll turn the volume up a tiny bit. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. That's not it. Check. Oh, there we go. That's the one. We're going to go to lunch. It is 11:26. We're going to be back at 12:30. Give us an hour for lunch. We have a portal set up already so we can move over to the afternoon session. You can join us over there and follow this case as it started. This is a death penalty trial, which in Florida looks like this. If the jury, which will be 12 people on a death penalty case, if the jury convicts, the next thing that they do is they go into the sentencing phase, where the same jury then decides if the death penalty is applicable. To have a conviction in the first phase, all 12 jurors must be unanimous. It has to be 100% unanimous. In the penalty phase, where they decide if they go with the death penalty or not, only 8 of the 12 have to agree to get him on death row, and then it'll happen. So a couple things. Let me recognize a couple people really quickly. If I missed you, I do apologize. Early on, Kitty, thank you very much for the super sticker or super chat. The trial starts this morning. That's where we were going. Breezy B, member for 29 months. OG. Winnaboo. I'm going to call it as well. OG. Yes, 19 months plus. Kim R, yeah, I'm back. Aruba was awesome. We missed you. We missed Aruba, Kim. You didn't take us. Selena K, member for 29 months, attorney level as well. A huge supporter of the channel. Thank you, Selena K, for that. Hot dang, Elaine's crafting. I've got to see what you do. I think you've got a business on the side, so I have to find out about that. Welcome. Hello, friends. Big Sky, DMC member for 30 months. OG. Seems like just yesterday I signed up. Then I look back at all the crazy trials we've covered. Best YouTube channel right here. Thank you very much for that. Let's see, the Creative Bee. Please send prayers to the young man. Thank you, Debbie, for this. Just a very sad situation. Thanks for sharing that. And I appreciate those who added this young man to your thoughts and your prayers. Happy Bath Bar member for 24 months. Finally got the pink courthouse. Congratulations, OG. Kelly H. Upgrade Fund. Best tech on YouTube. Thank you. Nurse for God says, I love your glasses. I do as well. These were sent to me by Amber, Clipson's Vixen. And they have helped with the headaches significantly. Although I did not wear them on Sunday, and all day I was reaching for my face. I like touching glasses. I don't like having touched them because then I have to get out the little microfiber, whatever cloth, and clean them. But I like having them on, but I didn't have them. I kept like almost gouging my eyes out. All right, Nurse for God, thank you very much for your support, longtime supporter as well. Regina Crawford on vacation in Tennessee will be here lurking and working, I think, something like, oh no, on vacation, so no working. Love y'all. Are you in like Dollywood, or where are you at in Tennessee? Donna Littlefield, member for 1 month, been here longer, wouldn't want to be with any other peeps. Thank you, Donna. Allie B from Tennessee, OG. Thank you very much. Welcome. Kaz, also an OG. 23 months. Where are we at? And last but not least, Sloth Life, member for 20 months as an attorney. OG. I love being here with y'all. We may be scattered across the globe, and Greeners is permanently in Gizmo, but we're all family. Facts, all of them, Sloth Life. Thank you very much. Appreciate your support. Would not be the same without you here. All right, we're going to go to lunch. And when we come back, we're going to have part 2 of day 1 in this trial. It's slated for about 2 weeks. I've been looking through the witness list Josh sent me. There's a lot of people on here. There's a lot of evidence the state has to solidify this case against Jose Soto-Escalera. And it's not looking good for him. But of course, it's early in the case. Anything can happen. He is innocent unless proven guilty. And we're going to see if the state's able to meet their burden and what the jury will think once they are done convincing them. Tonight, when you go home, please hug the people you love, smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better. And please stay safe till we go live again at 12:30. We'll be back in 59 minutes exactly. And it's going to be great. Have a good lunch. We'll see you guys in a little bit. Bye-bye. Let me just say, since I made that deal on podcast about how I'm trying to improve, I haven't been late to a live stream yet. 12:30. See you guys there. All right, bye. Portal incoming.